right? I ain't getting no taller. I ain't getting no new voice. Like, I didn't get a new set of parents. Like, you know, my life didn't start all over again in a new city. Like, I didn't get no new resources. Matter of fact, me and CJ, we started this thing in 2006. We have never had a sponsor, y'all. Like, we ain't never, Nike ain't never ran up on us and was like, yo, we see all the work you doing in the hood. We gonna bless you. Under Armour ain't never come to us. We ain't never had a water company. We ain't had nobody. But we took ownership of, yo, we about to go buy the best camera we could buy. We about to get the best mic we can buy. We about to get whatever software, editing software we could get. And we putting videos up every single day. Listen to me. I'm talking about McDonald's ain't hit us up. Five Guys ain't hit us up. And we never played the blame game. We never was like, yo, cats be coming to us. Bro, I be listening to your stuff. I made $10 million last year because of you. I ain't never go, bro, you made 10, can you bless? I ain't never asked nobody for nothing. We took full ownership. We said, boom, we got Twitter. Boom, we got Instagram. Boom, we got TikTok. Boom, we got YouTube. Listen to me, when I took those kids to the Super Bowl, I didn't call nobody that I know and say, hey, bro, can you give us $5, $10? When we wrote the book, we didn't call nobody. We took full ownership. We said the Lord has blessed us to be in a time where it's not slavery. We have opportunities in this country, and we're going to wake up every single day and we're going to grind. I want y'all to tell the young people they got an opportunity for a lifetime, but it does not matter if you don't take full ownership of it. I don't want nothing from my father. I don't want nothing from my mom. As a matter of fact, I bless my mom, and in the summer, she stay in California, Florida. I don't need nothing from my mom. I don't need an apology from my father. I don't need nothing. I'm taking full ownership. But the day I was when I was homeless, and I was living in abandoned buildings, I was blaming folks. Oh, the Detroit public school system. Oh, the police officer. Why my man pulled me and my boy over at 3 o'clock in the morning and take us to jail? Why? How he know we had a stolen car? How my man know my boy had bricks? They prejudice. I was like, ain't nobody prejudiced, son. Here's the deal. Your mama don't know the police officer. The police officer don't know the counselor that kicked you out of school. No, nobody know nobody but one person. That's Eric Thomas. And I was like, yep, got to take full ownership, make excellence an expectation. So now what I do, again, all my stuff is free. 90% of the stuff that I do is free. The only way I make my money is a couple of corporations call me from time to time, right? And they pay me, right? So what did I do? I noticed Jackie Robinson. I'm like, man, how did he get into the league as the only Black? Excellence. Man, how Martin Luther King get in front of the world? Excellence. Man, how Rosa Parks? Excellence. And I start realizing like, yo, you can get beyond racism. You can get beyond having ADHD. You can get beyond having some academic challenges. Yo, you can get beyond your daddy ain't in your life. You can get beyond your grandma had 14 kids on the south side of Chicago. You object poverty. Like, you can get past a lot of stuff if you operate at excellence. Like, you can get a lot of people to notice you when you excellent. CJ, you got to help me with this. How much was our first gig, C, when we first started doing the school district? How much did they pay us? $100 out the vending machine. That excellence at everything we do. What they paying me now an hour to speak, see? We was getting $100 from the vending machine. We never quit. We never gave up. We never said like, yo, as a matter of fact, the when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe speech was already out and I couldn't get an opportunity. One of the best speeches ever done, I couldn't get opportunity. I didn't cry. I didn't say woe is me. I just was like, yo, see, we ain't doing something. We got to go harder. We got to go faster. We got to go stronger. We got to put out more content. We got to get to a spirit of excellence. So tell these young people they got an opportunity of a lifetime. Don't touch it with average, because we ain't average. Don't touch it with good, because we ain't good. That ain't in our DNA. Martin Luther King wasn't, Frederick wasn't, Nat Turner wasn't, Sojourner wasn't, Booker T wasn't, Du Bois wasn't. None of them were average. Family Lou Hayes, none of them were average. None of the Beggar Edwards, none of them were average. They were all great. And because of their greatness, we all get to sit here. We're all on their shoulders because they were great. Tell these young people, don't touch it if you're going to be average. Get out the league if you're going to be good. Only show up great, because when great and excellent is the expectation, we're able to do something for our people that can never be done.
What's going on, family? Welcome to Coffee and Crypto, the #1 cryptocurrency morning show in the world. I want to say thank you for taking the time to tune in. Let me go ahead and make sure we're recording on all aspects right now. Awesome. So welcome to the call. So just quick question. How many of you all had an amazing, like, how was your Thanksgiving? We had a call on Thanksgiving. It was a smaller, more intimate call, but we still had to do our updates. So if you missed the Thanksgiving call, make sure you go back on the YouTube. The last call, I think that was episode number 58. We're now on episode number 59 today. And I want to say thank you for continuously showing up for your success and just continuing to get this information. For you all that may not know me, my name is Vincent Owens. I'm one of the top cryptocurrency coaches in the world. I really believe that. I do the research every single day. I'm inside of the rabbit hole, even when I don't feel like doing it, even when I'm going through life and going through what I'm going through as well. I'm making sure that I still stay diligent in this information, because a lot of that don't matter. What matters is that we know where we're going. And I will tell you that I plan, and my goal and everything that I do is to be the greatest. This is the beginning of my career of being one of the greatest speakers in the world, one of the greatest orators in the world. And I want to say I appreciate you for being my audience week in and week out, supporting me and making sure that I can achieve that duty. So I really just say thank you to the committed audience that plugs in and really stays consistent with this information of learning, with this attitude of learning. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and dive into today's call. It's been a lot going on in the cryptocurrency market. I'm pretty sure you guys have been seeing a lot of stuff. I have a video today from that we're going to cover. Michael Branch sent it over to me, so I want to say thank you to him for sending it this morning. It definitely helped out a lot with having more content to be able to put on the show. And what I want to say is, if you guys see things, send it to me send it to me through the Discord, send it to me to a text message, send me these articles, send me these things, because it's really impossible to see everything and catch everything. And I tell people all the time, you can try to pre-plan for these shows. I can try to pre-plan for Coffee and Crypto, but it's impossible. And the reason why it's impossible is because the information changes like by the second. Like, what you thought happened this morning could be completely different by the afternoon. And that's how fast, not just the markets change, right? It's not just about the volatility of the market, but that's how fast things change in this market every single week. So I want to say thank you again to the audience for tuning in, and make sure you drop those coffee emojis in the chat box. Also, if you're plugging in on YouTube, make sure that you smash that subscribe button. And just stay connected to our community, connected to these calls, because we are going to continue all the way through to episode 100 and beyond. And I'm super excited to be headed into our 60th episode of Coffee and Crypto. Now, diving into these markets, we are down to an $833 billion market cap. So we're quite a bit underneath $1 trillion right now, which is okay. It's Black Friday, it was Black Friday, Cyber Monday, so hopefully you all took advantage of these discounts. You took advantage of these sales. You purchased some crypto. You may have purchased some stocks if you're into it. Maybe you purchased yourself some gold, some silver, but, or some type of course to help you better yourself in investing. But definitely make sure that you guys are taking advantage of these discounts that we have in the market, because I really believe that literally we've been on Black Friday in crypto for the last at least 6 to 7 months. We've been consistently on Black Friday. And so if you're building your dollar cost, if you're working on your dollar cost averaging strategy in this space, this should be the time that you're going the hardest, finding other streams of income to be able to fuel this dream and really take off. Now, looking at the overall crypto market, today, we have Bitcoin sitting at right above 16,000, all right, with not much growth over the last 7 days. Ethereum up 7%, up to $1,200, sitting right above $1,200 for Ethereum. We have Tether coming in at number 3 still. BNB has flipped USDC, all right, for the number 4th position based on market cap. Okay, and then XRP, which is one of our favorite cryptocurrencies that we will consistently stay committed to on this call. We now know that XRP is sitting in at the number 7 position, up 5% over the last 7 days. Hopefully you guys, you caught that sale, that big sale from, the 40 cent down to about the 37 cent mark. Hopefully you caught some discounts on that as well during the Cyber Monday deal that we got on yesterday, and the rest of the market is looking pretty green today. So, I mean, we're looking green overall in the top 100 coins. So that is positive light for crypto. Now, let's go ahead and dive into the wonderful world of Twitter and crypto. And I'm going to pull up some of my bookmarks that I've created. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is this video here, because we're still dealing. I mean, you guys seen BitBoy Crypto down in the Bahamas. If you haven't, check out his page, but he's been in the Bahamas. And he said if nobody else is going to, if nobody else is going to go down there and figure out what's going on with the whole Alameda and FTX and Tether and just everything that's everything that's happening in this space right now out of the Bahamas, he's the one that's doing it. So he's on the ground putting in the footwork. And I want to say shout out to the digital asset investor for this video, because it really started to make sense and it made me understand kind of what's going on in this space. Now, what he said was, sound familiar, ? This is back when we had a Congress and a justice system that would actually deal with people like this. It's questionable now. Congress, the world is watching. So again, we are moving into Congress getting more serious about regulating this space, even though they should have been very serious about this. They should have been passing these laws, and it shouldn't take as long as it does through our judicial system and through our congressional system for these laws and these things to actually go through. So what I want you to listen to this video, and this is in regards to Enron back in the early 2000s, and you'll see how the justice system was dealing with these things a little differently than they are dealing with this new asset class. Listen up.
Beyond the financial issues, some suspected a political conspiracy. Enron had been the largest corporate contributor to the first presidential campaign of George W. Bush.
This is not a political issue. It is a business issue. Enron had made contributions to a lot of people around Washington, D.C. And if they came to this administration looking for help, they didn't find any.
To say no help here is like I did not have political relations with that man, Mr. Lee.
What about the fact that George W. Bush calls Ken Lay Kenny Boy?
That's my nickname for my husband, which he overheard.
So it wasn't original with the president.
Certainly wasn't.
According to published reports, your husband earned about $300 million in compensation and stocks from Enron over the last 4 years. What happened to all that money?
That's gone. It's gone. There's nothing left.
This is the shredded evidence we got that came out of Enron.
We very quickly determined that the insiders had sold off $1 billion of their stock in the preceding several months.
Did you convert stock worth $66 million?
I don't know, but I don't.
Would that be surprising to you to learn that you did that?
No, that would not be surprising.
Mr. Fasto got only $30 million in stock proceeds from Enron, but he took another $30 million out with his side deals.
I think there was just an immediate sense of outrage at Lay and Skilling and Fastow when people realized how much they had profited and how completely artificial the appearance of this company had been.
News of shredding at Enron raised more questions. What answers were lost in the torn documents? 20,000 employees had lost their jobs. $2 billion in pensions and retirement funds had disappeared. Was Enron the work of a few bad men or the dark shadow of the American dream?
Yes. So let's continue to pay attention, guys. Y'all appreciate all the commentary in the chat, but let's pay attention to what's going on here on the call, because if you miss this stuff, it's very important, right? And so what's going on is we are not seeing our Congress, we're not seeing our justice system persecute Sam Bankman-Fried and all of the bad players the same way that they were doing when George Bush was in office. And so there actually was a video that I found that talks about the Democrats and and who, you know, who's in office. I actually want to show you. I have a few things that I'd like to actually show you. So this video here is from Victor David Hansen. And he's an iconic American historian, and he's commenting on the Great Reset. I want you to listen to this video in regards to the Great Reset, which is dealing with the World Economic Forum as well.
Something going on right now called the Great Reset. Mr. Klaus Schwab, remember him? He was the author and architect of Davos. The idea is if you get Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and a lot of professors and Silicon Valley, Wall Street, and you bring them all to Davos, and they can plan out what the world should be like. And if you read his Great Reset, he wants particular governments to surrender sovereignty to an international body. The first thing he wants to do is make sure that no one country gives tax incentives to a corporation like Ireland does, so that corporations have nowhere to go except to their body of high tax countries, redistributionists. He wants corporate boards to reflect diversity, and their membership should be appointed on the color of their skin rather than their ability to bring a profit to their shareholders. He wants to make sure that we phase out fossil fuels on a schedule that would be turned by an international body. And he has enormous support within the United States. One thing we should remember is the Democratic Party is no longer the party of the middle class. If you look at the top 20 zip codes in the United States, 17 by income, 17 voted Democratic of the 20. If you look at congressional districts by wealth, the top 20 all voted Democratic. The Republican Party has evolved into a upper and middle class party. The Democratic Party is the very, very hyper rich and the subsidized poor. We should remember that, because a lot of what we've been talking about are the efforts of very wealthy people in Wall Street, Silicon Valley, professional sports, Hollywood, the corporate boardroom, the military, to virtue signal their superiority because they feel guilty that they either don't feel comfortable with the poor or they don't want them around.
I felt like that was pretty interesting, so I wanted to show you guys that video. Now I have another video in regards to the agenda that's being pushed by the World Economic Forum. And so this guy was pretty smart. Usually, you know, I'm used to seeing people that get on the news and talk on the news, and they're not extremely smart, you know, but this guy is definitely onto something. And so James Melville, he posted this. He said, here's a personal account of how digital ID and central bank digital currency / social credit system operates in China. And so I want you guys to realize that all of this is leaning us into this social credit system, which you'll see what's happening. I mean, obviously we know what's happening in China, but a lot of us don't know because we've never visited or we don't necessarily live there. Some people have visited, but if you don't live there, it's different from visiting and it's different from living there. So this video is pretty impactful, especially with listening to the last video and in regards to what's happening here in the US between the Republicans and the Democrats, and how the Democrats, there is no middle class. It's either you're extremely hyper rich or you're extremely poor. And like we said, the middle class has been wiped out, and even if it's not completely wiped out, it's being wiped out right now through the flesh of this historical system that we had. So listen to this gentleman right here as he talks about the system in China.
If you go to China, they're piloting it a few years ago in Shenzhen. So I lived overseas. If you go to Shenzhen, back in 2017, they already had facial recognition cameras there. So if you jaywalked in Shenzhen, they would immediately detect that and send you a notification, and they would deduct money from your what they call WeChat account. They use two main apps, WeChat and Alipay. So you can actually deduct your money directly from your account. This is 4 years ago. So this is not like some sort of conspiracy theory. It's not something that's going to happen 10 years into the future. This happened pre-corona in China. And so this system in China that exists is extremely advanced. They can detect if it's a man or a woman. They can guess your age. They can detect what kind of car model it is, who the manufacturer is. This is a sort of technology that we see in all these dystopian sort of films and whatever. And people keep putting it off and thinking that this is something that's going to happen later in my kid's lifetime or my grandkids. It's already here. And if this gets implemented anywhere, especially in a Western nation, it's not going away. Israel is already talking about the fourth shot. Then they're going to be going to herpes, and they're going to ask if you're gay. They're going to be asking if you ate 3 pizzas this week because it's unhealthy. If you buy certain books in certain countries, your country doesn't like you. You'll lose points in the social credit score system. So this is already the reality of the world in certain places, and we need to be aware of that if we don't want that or if we do. And to be perfectly honest, anybody who wants this vaccine passport, it's a misnomer. It's total control. Everything you do or don't do will be calculated to the point where if they can detect your GPS signal, if you have a phone on you, they can detect who you're hanging out with. Oh, you're hanging out with somebody that said something bad 9 years ago on Weibo, okay, like a Chinese equivalent to Facebook or something like that, right? Oh, you lose 2 points. Oh, you bought Japanese books, you lose 5 points because you don't like Japan. This is what is going to come here because it's already there.
And we're doing that a little bit with contact tracing for COVID, aren't we? So that they can see where you're at and who you're with.
The simple reality is that the technology that CSIS has and all these big tech corporations, they already know where you are. It's just that they don't want to shock the system too much and admit that they have it. Edward Snowden revealed all this back in 2013. He fled to Hong Kong. They wouldn't keep him there, so now he's in Russia.
Yeah.
But the NSA has all of your information. They know your Google searches from like February 9th, 2004 in a bunker in Colorado.
Help me, Rhonda.
Right? They have all this information. So, but they don't, like in the US, they have the 4th Amendment. They're not supposed to track you forever, right? So they pretend they don't have it, but they do. Yeah. If they really want to utilize it.
Let's go. So these are the things that's happening in our world. Just kind of wanted to, catch us up to speed on a couple interesting videos before we really jump into the meat and potatoes of the show with, the BLOCKFI, with BLOCKFI's bankruptcy, with JP Morgan, with, Putin and all these things that, the articles that we're going to pull up. I just love to really show some really dope videos and interesting videos that I found. This is another video that I found. Now this is kind of speeding up to where we are to, today dealing with actually crypto, right? And so Fox Business, Bitcoins Magazine, Dylan LeClaire breaking down the red flags on yield products in the crypto space. So this video is the video that's going to push us into what has happened with BLOCKFI. If you've heard about what's happened with BLOCKFI, drop those coffee emojis in the chat box. If you haven't, just sit back because another major player has just went bankrupt, and we'll be able to read into that here in a second.
It was a $100 million fine, the largest in crypto history. That seemed to me like maybe that was a red flag, but you saw red flags long before then.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of a skeptic of these yield-bearing platforms. I think the reality is no one was really asking the question, where was this yield coming from? And really, the crypto mania of 2020 and 2021 was fueled by obfuscated leverage, and particularly it was exacerbated by these yield products. In the case of the BLOCKFI fine, they got fined by the SEC for essentially offering unregistered securities, right? If you look at the Howey test and what defines the security, right? A security by the SEC, it's basically the promise of a return or an investment with a counterparty, and that's what these yield products are. And so I'm not one to call for the heavy hand of the state, but the reality is these yield products, Bitcoin has no native yield. So where is yield coming from? And that's why a lot of these counterparties are all going bankrupt in a daisy chain.
I had BLOCKFI on the show a few times back then, and I would ask the same question. There was an ad in February 2021, and it ticked off all the reasons you should open an account with them. They said deposit Bitcoin lets you earn 6% annually, allows you to also borrow money, said it was safe and backed by big investors. And that's score I want to ask you about, these big investors. Silicon Valley, to what extent are they culpable for the FTXs and some of these other things? Because once they put money into these companies, it's sort of a seal of approval.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's important to differentiate, the bad actors and the frauds, which in the case of, you could say an FTX probably matches that bill, versus people that were honestly trying to put together a product that was usable for retail and institutional investors. I don't think BLOCKFI is evil. I just think that the premise of what they were trying to do and these yield-bearing products is something that was never sustainable. As all the kind of the fuel of the 2020 and 2021 bull market kind of wore off, right? So basically, you had a few things like the DeFi summer and the Bitcoin contango trade, where futures traded above spot, as well as the GBTC arbitrage that fueled all of these yield products. But they were really just carry trades, and so once those carry trades got arbed enough, you basically had no more yield.
So I'm not gonna lie. I mean, a lot of us on the show that watches this show, we've all dealt with DeFi. I mean, we've all dove into arbitrage. We've dove into, you know, BNB, I did BNB Profit. I've done so many different DeFi platforms that had really no real, I would say, leverage behind them besides the money that people were putting into it. And I didn't start to realize this until these things started to unfold. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of us have lost a lot of money in the crypto space, and it's continuing to happen. And, you know, I don't know, it's a tough time, you know, like I'm really lost for words, because a lot of these things, we really thought we were going to get wealthy. We really thought, hey, you know, this is our chance for wealth. And people were like, it's too good to be true. And sometimes I'm like, man, I should have listened to these people, because maybe it was too good to be true to earn, you know, 3% a day, or, you know, 2.2% a day, or, you know, 90% APY or something crazy. You know, like, these things don't happen in the traditional markets for a reason. And for us to feel in the past that it would happen for us on the long term, and for the people that got in and got out and made money, congratulations. But for a lot of people, even myself, that joined these platforms, kept our money in these platforms, you know, we really lost money, and we learned some big lessons. And so what I want to do is just tell people, especially new people that are tapping into these shows and tapping into the show and learning about what's safe and what's not safe. Really make sure that you do your research on these DeFi platforms. And right now, to be real with you, I'm not dealing with any DeFi. I'm not dealing with staking outside of maybe a wallet. I'm not staking on exchanges right now, not doing any of that. And the reason why is because it's too much uncertainty in the market. And I don't want to continue to put myself, you know, in a position where I'm losing money. So, you know, I just wanted to let you guys know to be careful with these DeFi platforms, because they're going to continue to come until regulation comes. People are going to continue to talk about these things on Twitter and yield farming and all this stuff. Just be careful with what you choose, and make sure that the companies you're working with are legit. You know, exactly. Trustyourledger.com. I like that.
It was $100 million fine.
I like
crypto history.
I like that, Matt. He said trustyourledger.com. I really like that. That should be a shirt. But let's continue to push forward. So let's see, what do I want to show first? So, well, I'll show this. So this was I'll show this one first. So this is CNN Business. BlockFi files for bankruptcy as FTX contagion grips crypto markets. Now, actually have a picture that I actually need to text myself right now. Give me 1 second. I'm going to send this picture over to my computer. So I actually want y'all to see this. I meant to send it before the show and I forgot, but I'm sending it right now. Now, BlockFi files for bankruptcy as FTX contagion grips crypto markets. This came out November 28th on CNN. And this, obviously, CNN is a major news network. And so the FTX has been on there for the last couple of weeks. Now BlockFi is there. People are getting out of crypto. I mean, it's literally happening. Every person I talked to, like literally, I was down in Florida, running the beach, came across a guy who was out fishing. He asked him what he did. He told me, I told him what I did. He's like, man, well, I got to ask you the biggest elephant in the room, the question. He was like, what's up with crypto? FTX and all these different things that's happening. What's going on? And I had to tell him the same thing that I try to share on this show is what we're experiencing is not something that's new. It's happened in the past with Enron. It happened in 2008. It has happened with Lehman Brothers, right? It's happened so many times in the past, even beyond that, right? And nothing is new under the sun. So he had to, after I explained pretty much everything to him, he gained a better understanding, was like, okay, I think I might go ahead and invest back into crypto, because I had to tell him it's not crypto, it's the projects that people are choosing. You got to make sure that you're choosing the right projects. And so with more FUD being pushed onto CNN, right, this is terrible for the markets right now. And that's why we're seeing the market continue to drop billions of dollars, right? But that's okay for us as investors, because we continue to what? Be able to buy the dip. Now, BLOCKFI commences restructuring proceeding to stabilize business and maximize value for all clients and stakeholders. All right. They filed a voluntary petition for Chapter 11 protection to preserve client value and pursue recoveries on counterparty obligations. Now, if you all didn't hear, I believe it was as of yesterday, BLOCKFI commenced their voluntary case under Chapter 11 for their bankruptcy. As part of its restructuring efforts, the company will focus on recovering all obligations owed to BLOCKFI by its counterparties, including FTX. So they've also, so if you guys didn't know, BLOCKFI, after they filed for bankruptcy, they've turned around and also now they're suing FTX and Alameda, all right, because, or FTX because of, I believe it's some, they have some investments that are tied to Robinhood, right? Robinhood, which is kind of confusing as to why they're using Robinhood, but I guess there's some assets or some holdings that FTX has. And so, so BLOCKFI is actually suing them right now as well, or pursuing to sue them as well. Now, with the collapse of FTX, the BLOCKFI management team and board of directors, like I said, immediately took action to protect clients and the company. All right. From inception, BLOCKFI has worked to positively shape the cryptocurrency industry and advance the sector. BLOCKFI looks forward to a transparent process that achieves the best outcome for all clients. Literally a couple of weeks ago, BLOCKFI halted withdrawals, right? So we're noticing that multiple cryptocurrency exchanges now and lending platforms are halting withdrawals. And that is a major red flag. Anytime they start to halt withdrawals, we know that something big, usually a bankruptcy or a complete crash, is coming right after. All right. So BLOCKFI is another major player, all right, that is going down. Now, back in March of 2021, BLOCKFI, this is kind of weird that they went insolvent, because they land the 350 million Series D at a $3 billion valuation for its fast growing crypto lending platform. All right. So, so today on the, back in March of 2021, they announced it has closed on a massive $350 million Series D funding that valuates it at $3 billion. While this news in and of itself is certainly attention getting, it's even more impressive when you consider the startup just raised a 50 million Series C last August at a $450 million valuation. So, I mean, they literally scaled so fast. And so your question has to come, where did all of this money come from, right? Where did all this money come from? And so something that I wanted to pull up really fast from my text message thread is this photo right here. One second, y'all. Pulling it up for y'all right now. Okay. Okay. All right, so you guys should be able to see, hopefully you all can see this. Drop a coffee emoji in the chat box, or a 7 if you all can see this. I'm going to make sure everybody, okay, perfect. So this right here is pretty interesting. It was sent to me by by Brody, one of the guys that is inside of the Discord. We actually met up last night and did some trading. and he was showing me how many companies were connected either to Alameda, FTX Ventures, or FTX exchanges. And so if you all see, two of the largest legs of Sam Bankman-Fried's empire were venture capital companies, all right? Companies that fund Web3 companies through this space, right? And so as you can see, BlockFi was funded by FTX US because BlockFi is an American-based company. So they were funded right here through FTX US. And then you can look around, and as you can see, I mean, there's so many different, I mean, WonderFi. Remember Kevin O'Leary, he talked about WonderFi. This is a Canadian company, Canadian exchange. And Alameda Research funded WonderFi as well. And Kevin O'Leary also was a huge investor in WonderFi and a spokesperson for them. Then you got Polygon, you have Solana, you have Consensus. All right, this is crazy. You have Lido, you have Anchorage. Then you come over here to FTX Ventures, and you can see all these other companies right here. All right, a lot of these companies we don't really, maybe not know about 100%, but I mean, you got Yuga Labs, okay? Then we go back up to FTX. Voyager was funded by them, right? Blockfolio, Ledger X, all right? So Ledger, Circle, USDC, all right? Ledger Prime, okay? BlockFi. This is literally a disaster zone, all right? So with the collapse of this market, it could be very well that a lot of these companies may go insolvent and collapse behind it as well. So we have to know what's going on, even though I hate sharing all this terrible news, but it's the truth. And we have to understand that all these companies that are getting this funding from this place and that place, it's all connected. All these companies are connected at the end of the day. And but what I did not see on there was Ripple. I didn't see Stellar. I didn't see hbar. I didn't see Quant, right? Doesn't mean that they may not have took funding. I don't know until it comes out. But what I'm saying is we have to pay attention to these things and make sure that we're investing into the proper assets, okay? Let's continue to push forward past what's happening with BlockFi. Now, in other news, Putin calls for international settlements based on blockchain and digital currencies. All right. Russian President Vladimir Putin believes a new system for international money transfers is needed to reduce dependence on big banks and third parties. He is convinced that cross-border payments relying on digital currency and distributed ledger technology will be much more convenient. I have this video to show you all. It's about 5 minutes long. All right. This was sent to me from Michael Branch. All right. And this morning, and I wanted to show you all this quick excerpt of this video from King Solomon on YouTube. I really felt like this kind of put everything into perspective for me. So listen up as he breaks this down for us.
The cornerstone of this video is this announcement that just came out over the past couple of days here. Putin calling for creating an international payment system independent of interference. This certainly deals with blockchain and digital currencies. This certainly deals with the BRICS nations. You've got Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and I think that there's one or two other ones that have kind of came in the mix recently. But if we look at this right here, an independent system of international payments can be created based on digital currency and blockchain technologies, Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Thursday. Now, we're going to get into the Ripple and XRP stuff here, and I always like paying attention to verbiage. I'm not definitively saying that Ripple or XRP, the asset, have anything to do with this, but I like paying attention to verbiage. So, independent system of international payments can be created based on digital currency and blockchain tech. It is possible to create a new system of international payments based on digital currency technologies and distributed registries. Much more convenient, but at the same time, completely safe for participants and independent of banks and third-party interference. According to him,
Global financial institutions should reflect the realities of the multipolar world and be based on open democratic principles. In the conditions of the current illegitimate restrictions, settlements are one of the attack lines. Settlements, payments, one of the attack lines. Obviously, we've seen kind of the restrictions put upon Russia, the sanctions put upon the Russian banking system, pulling them out of a lot of the SWIFT network. Putin saying that the current international payment system is expensive and its correspondent account systems and regulation are controlled by a small group of states and financial companies. Well, this leads me back to this document that I found probably about 6 or 7 months ago from the Atlantis Press. This was released in 2020, Foreign and Russian Experience of Blockchain Digitization by Central Banks, Financial and Tech Companies. The most interesting portion of this entire document to me, one of the toolkit projects based on the mechanisms of blockchain technology was the Bank of Russia's project on the cross-border transfers implementation. In the first half of 2018, the Bank of Russia and their Novosibirsk Innovative Laboratory conducted research on testing the possibility of cross-border settlements using the Ripple platform. The system technology assumed that the settlement participants had special accounts opened and national payment systems and addresses in the Ripple network. Reflection of operations and national payment systems could be performed both after each transfer and at the end of the trading day or at certain intervals. Based on the research results, now this is where I get into the verbiage with Putin's speech 3 or 4 days ago. Based on the research results, it was concluded that the Ripple platform can be considered as the basis for starting work on creating a system of cross-border settlements, provided that the following organizational, legal, and technical issues are resolved. They go into 5 bullet points here. The first bullet point for organizational, legal, or technical issues being resolved is the use for XRP transfers or equivalents of fiat currencies issued by each participant, aka the national bank. Determination of a mechanism for reconciling balances between the accounts of Ripple. There's a semicolon after that too, so they're leading you into these next bullet points. Determination of a mechanism for reconciling balances between the accounts of Ripple participants and the national payment system. Use of embedded cryptographic solutions on the Ripple network. Development of a procedure for determining cross rates for the internal currency, XRP, when deciding to use XRP in interstate settlements. So when they say Ripple network, they're talking about XRPL here, 100%. Maintaining correspondent directories between the addresses of the accounts of the XRPL or Ripple network participants and the accounts of the banks they serve in national payment systems. In case of using fiat currency equivalents in cross-border transfers, it's necessary to take into account sources of information on proposals for the purchase, sale of currencies, determination of cross-currency exchange rates, impact on organization of market makers, source availability and market maker liquidity for each of the currencies used. So when I say verbiage, concluded that the Ripple platform can be considered as the basis for starting work on creating a system of cross-border settlements. And the verbiage that he had just came out with was, where is it at here? Yeah, possible to create a new system of internal payments based on digital currency technologies and distributed.
All right. So y'all heard it there. I do not have that document that he did. I actually didn't look the document up, but I felt like that video, if you're a Ripple, if you're an XRP investor, if you're invested into the XRP technology, the XRP blockchain, I do believe that we hold something that the world has yet to see the power of. And we keep talking about this on this show, but it's so important and I will not stop. Okay. So let's kind of dive into this Bitcoin.com article with Vladimir Putin. And so he said, today, the system of international payments is expensive with corresponding accounts and regulation controlled by a small club of states and financial groups. This guy is fed up. He says, based on the technologies of digital currencies and distributed ledgers, it is possible to create a new system for international payments and much more convenient, but at the same time, completely safe for participants and completely independent of banks and interference from third third countries. Okay. He says Russia has been mulling over comprehensive crypto regulations in the past months, with increasing support for the legalization, of cross-border crypto payments. In September, the financial authorities in Moscow started developing a mechanism for international cryptocurrency settlements. So they're already ahead of the curve. This is something that their president, all right, their president of Russia, even our president is not as far, and we are America, and you got Russia that sees value in Ripple. They've already tested on the Ripple network multiple times. That should show us that we are headed into a completely digital world. Then November 24th, this came out. Ghana plans to buy oil with gold instead of US dollars. I thought that this was pretty interesting that Ghana is stepping out like that, because we know what the US has done, right? At least hypothetically speaking, right? But we know what the US has done to countries that have tried to separate from the petrodollar, that have tried to separate from using the US dollar as the world reserve currency, right? And so they are now planning to buy oil with gold instead of US dollars. All right. So that right there was a major headline. Look into that if you would like to. Then November 29th, this came out a couple of hours ago. JP Morgan, all right, biggest bank, Chase, expects major changes coming to crypto industry and regulation post FTX collapse. So FTX, all right, Alameda Research, BlockFi, UST, Terra, the Luna crash, all of these things have been the catalyst of 2022. All right, we all know that 2022 was the year of the switch. This was the year that central banks of different countries could start to choose going into November whether they wanted to switch over to the ISO 2022 protocol, or if they wanted to stick to the old SWIFT model until 2025. All right. So JP Morgan is definitely looking to be a leader in the crypto space. They're looking to really start to help with transparency, help with customer asset protection, help with custody, right? And we all know that one of the biggest things that we're doing right now as custodians of our cryptos, we're getting it offline and we're putting it onto ledgers or other cold storage or hot storage wallets, right? And so understanding that these companies like JP Morgan, like Bank of America, we all know when regulation happens, Bank of America already has partnerships with Ripple. Bank of America, when this switch happens, when everything comes to light and they're able to truly go all in, on demand liquidity will be a major factor for Bank of America because they are already a proven Ripple partner. All right. So these are the things that's happening in crypto. Hopefully today's episode was enlightening for you all. You learned something today. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time to get up, to actually hop on this call. If you have anything that you would like to share, one thing you learned, or love from today's episode, I would love for you to raise your hand. Or if you got something that you just want to add, maybe there's something that I may have missed out on. I know Matt had a lot to say, inside the chat. But if you got something you want to share, raise those hands and let us hear you. And if not, we'll hop up out of here. But definitely, I'm excited to hear from Matt. So Matt, you can go ahead and unmute your line, brother. The floor is yours.
What's going on, Vince? How you doing, bro?
Man, I'm amazing, bro. Appreciate you.
Amen. I didn't mean to talk too much. I'm excited, man. And I noticed that the more I read XRP news and what people would consider red meat news on it, man, I just get really, really excited. And, I just appreciate everything, man. This channel has got tons of value. I mean, you're putting out stuff and viewpoints and perspectives that I think people really need to hear. And I appreciate it, man. I'm here as much as I can be, and I'll continue to do that. So, amen.
I appreciate all the value you're bringing to the trading community as well, especially inside the Discord. You've been in your bag, bro, with trading. Something I want to ask you is just personally, Matt. I know you were saying that Ms. Zuli was doing her research, and I know she said we need to go back in time and remember what happened during the Cultural Revolution in China. I wanted to ask for Ms. Zuli maybe to pop in and just kind of maybe if you could share and enlighten us on how that ties in with what the guy was talking about, because I've never studied that, so I find it pretty interesting. I actually screenshotted that, and that's something I'm gonna go and actually start to research myself, the Cultural Revolution in China. So do you have any more information or any resources that you could share, Matt, in regards to that, or Ms. Zuli?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure about that. She might have to go into it, but I know that I follow a couple of Telegram channels that have been posting about certain crypto investors and people that are just kind of getting knocked off, getting just disappearing or dying randomly. So, I mean, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I mean, the fact that Big Boy Crypto went to the Bahamas, I don't know about that one. That's a strong push, man. He's really looking for that voice, I think. But yeah, I would talk to her about that.
Okay, no problem. Ms. Zuli, do you have any information on that?
I studied quite a bit on that when I had to travel to China myself, spent some time there with the United Nations, attending the Women's Conference and then disability issues. And within that period of time, with speaking of the Cultural Revolution, because we talk about what's happening here as if it was something new with the cameras and everything else, China has been doing this from the period of time even before, and that's when all people rounded up, when neighbors had to talk, had to tell on each other, be like spies on each other constantly. There was no place, and just all had to live in places. There was no one you could trust anywhere, and so that's how many of the enslavement took place, and people had to leave. Either those who could leave were able to get out. They were sold in certain instances to do the train, the railroad, and all of that. But doing with what happened during that's when really communism really took over China. The people lost their freedoms, and just everywhere. Then there was no space, no homes, or anything where all their property was taken away from them. So when we talk about the cameras, the digital vision, the hands, everything, it started back then. So again, like I said, it's really good for us to look at in terms of what has happened with China, because before people were free, so there was before the Cultural Revolution. So since that Cultural Revolution in the 40s, 30s, back when, that's when things really happened. And it was like, yes, China to some extent began to move, I would say probably in the 90s, in the 2000s, regarding like the large constructions beyond going to Shanghai, the more people were able to enter China. But prior to that, again, it was really very, very difficult. When I recall when I had to fly to China, and I think I shared this before, it was really difficult. It's like, here I was using my camera, just taking a photo, and all of a sudden I had the police come to me, and they threatened me to put the camera away, and then my room was searched, my hotel room. I was just no one. It's like, but those are the kind of, and that was the 90s. So again, like I said, this is not anything new. And getting off the plane, even prior to getting off the plane, we were all warned, make sure that certain books we were not taking into China. So when I look back, being the last one usually to get off the plane, is that all the seats, it was like in the movie, were books being left on every seat, and stuff that you not bring into China. So again, like I said, we have to look at this as how this is happening here in the U.S. When we give our rights, with Apple, with any kind of telephone gadget or a website, we're giving away our freedoms at each moment. And I say, like, it's really important for us to study. When we have cameras all over the place, China has had cameras since way back when, the late 80s. Right. So, and then every corner, so constantly watched. So here is no different now. I look at Florida, my neighborhood now, after the hurricane, I've been seeing more cameras on every stoplight. This was not seen when I moved here. So
Wow.
it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, I can agree. You're right. And I didn't even think about it. So like I go jogging in Atlanta sometimes on what's called the Beltline here. And I guess it's for safety as well, because, you know, it's a crazy place and, you know, you need some type of governance on these trails because, you know, women are not safe, you know, it's just a lot going on. But because there's so much going on, like there's literally, they have these 360 cameras now that are on the belt line when you're running, and they're back to back to back to back. And I'm like, do they really need this many cameras? And, you know, and so some people would say it's safety. Others would say it's them being, control. I don't really know how to feel about it, you know, and so I'm still gathering my thoughts on all this stuff that's happening. And that's why I'm just grateful to have a community like this where we can really get together. We can talk about these things and leverage this space to just grow together. And you really taught me something today, because I had no idea. Like you said, this stuff happened in China, and I see you, Billy. You said this stuff happened in China, like back in the 20s and the 30s. Well, that's almost 100 years or 100 years ago that this has been happening in China, and I had no idea. So I'm definitely going to go and do my research.
Yeah. One book that comes to mind is called The Black Swan. And but there's several that's like more like a novel kind, but it really tells into, particularly in this case, I was doing a lot of research in terms of for women and how people with disabilities and people with mental health, all that were treated. And it's again, you know, when little girls were being aborted and killed, you know, I guess for the one child policy in China, yes, now you can have two, you know, but again, that's happening here too. So like, that's why we've copied, and Japan has copied as well. And so look at what's happening to Japan now, you know, so they're and so the restrictions. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zuli. I appreciate that. Wow. Mr. Billy, call Billy. Come on up, brother. You can unmute.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning, Billy.
You know, you just said everything to me about regulation. You said you were jogging, and you said there's cameras, and then you said it could be good and it could be bad. And it's kind of like what we're talking about with regulation. It's kind of perspective. It's kind of perspective. That's what I see. Since I've had my little incident, one, I've just finished the Millionaire Mind book. Thank you.
Good for
and
you.
I also have realized that there's a lot more to this thing than just what happened to me, and I see it from a different perspective, and that's kind of my presence of saying it like that. I've learned some things about me, and I've learned some things about this that I would not have found had I not had that happen. So maybe sometimes things happen for a reason, right? I was listening last night, and it was saying that China is still COVID bound. China is still in the COVID bound situation. And you know, I guess they rely on fear, and some of that is some of the research I've found about my little situation. So there are a lot of things going on, and it is about perspective. But yeah, it's you know, it's good to have actually just some people to even discuss this with. So a good platform, my friend, and good to see you again.
Good to see you.
All right.
Thank you, Billy. I appreciate everything. Wow. Well, this was a great call. I learned a lot. Oh, Blessed. I ain't heard from Blessed yet. What's going on, Blessed? Feel free to pop in.
Hey, what's up, Vince?
What up? What up, bro?
How you doing? I mean, I don't jump on these calls too much.
I didn't know that was bro. I did not know that Blessed was you the whole time, bro. What's up, bro?
Wow.
What up, bro?
How you doing, man?
Man,
yo, man, I don't jump on these calls too much, but I just wanted to chime in and say, man, I feel very highly blessed and favored to be in this space. And you know, I listen to every one of you a lot and very closely. And thank you, for the time, and for somebody like me, I appreciate this stuff, So now just thank you.
I appreciate you being here, Brennan. For sure.
I appreciate
Look, Brennan, I had no idea. Like you, bro, you be on everything. What you mean you don't be having time to get on the show? But, hey, every time, and I'm like,
I don't speak a lot. I'd be like, maybe I'm not ready. I feel sometimes I feel like I'm not ready yet. I'm like, these guys, let me learn first.
Nah, man, I'm excited, bro. I'm excited for you to share your story with the world one day, bro. You shared it with me, but I'm excited for that book and everything to come out, bro. You're definitely a testament, bro, and you're a testimony. you're a real walking testimony, bro. So I'm excited.
I love you, man. You know what I'm saying?
Let's tap in. Let's hop on a call or something soon, bro. It's good to see you, man.
Yo, that's a fact. That's a fact. God is good. You know what I'm saying? God is good.
Yeah, he is, man. Well, have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you in a second, brother.
All right, bro.
Well, that's it, man. I really want to say thank y'all so much for taking the time to just be here, be present. And this was episode number 59. And I think we're headed into episode number 60 coming up here very shortly. So thank you all so much for being committed for almost 60 episodes to Coffee and Crypto. Some of you all have never missed a call. And to that, I'm forever grateful. And this is a call that I absolutely am addicted to. I cannot stop, and I won't stop it. Y'all have an amazing rest of the day, and we'll talk to you guys on the next one. Have a blessed one. Love you too, Mo.